Hello everybody. For this video today, I'm going to talk about trying to find a transaction in PayFlow. This allows you to search the transaction and find it so that you can confirm that it indeed went through and ultimately was settled and batched and such. And basically there's kind of two ways you can search for a transaction in PayFlow. One way is to click the Reports button, and the other way would be to hit the Search Transactions button. For this first one here, we're going to go ahead and click Reports. So I hit Reports, and this will enable me to open up some reports to search for it. Now, if I've created a custom report already, I can hit the Templates and Schedules here, and I should have my custom report right here. I can go ahead and hit the Edit button and open up the fields here where I can then change the parameters for the report I'm searching. So for example, if I wanted to search for transactions that happened on the 20th, I would change the dates to the 20th. Sometimes I would change it from the 20th to the 21st to make sure that if any of them were late at night or whatever it may be, they've all come through. And I go down and I hit Run Report. And this will give me a listing of everything that happened on the 20th and 21st. And I can kind of go down via time to look for the transaction right here. Or I can look via the transaction ID to just kind of find the transaction's authorization and capture. And this way I can match it up to Successware to make sure it looks good that way. Sometimes when you search for transactions, you're going to see a couple of different things. So for example, if I were to search for a transaction and the customer may have called and told me that the card was authorized twice, or they have two charges on their credit card, I want to go through and find this transaction. To do that, I would again hit the Templates and Schedules, hit Edit, and change the dates. So for this instance, I'm going to leave it in today. And I'm going to go down to the bottom here and hit Run Report. And you'll see that for today, I have a handful of transactions that all happened under the invoice number. So for example, on invoice number 302912, I want to kind of go through and see what happened here on this transaction. And to do that, I'm going to take a look at some of the things that happened. So for example, it looks like the card was authorized, then voided, authorized, then captured. So in my mind, that card was ultimately authorized, voided, authorized, captured. So there may have been two authorizations, but that first authorization was voided, and the second authorization went through and then ultimately was captured. This instance may happen every now and again for you when a technician on the credit card screen on the device happens to go back a screen. If when they put in the credit card and then they go back to the invoice and either change the amount or change some information on the payment, it's going to void the original payment and then allow the tech to ultimately authorize a second payment. This enables it so the tech, if he changes the invoice amount or needs to change payment information, he can. So every now and again you may see an authorization void, authorization, and capture. Now the previous authorization would be voided, and that will come off the customer's, the hold on the customer's credit card will come off that night. The second one would be then authorized and captured and ultimately will go through and be captured funds. So you can safely tell the customer that that first pre-auth will go away once the credit card processor pushes it through, which typically happens overnight. So that's one way to look at transactions that happen that way too. Another thing, if you were to search for transactions, say you have some information about the transaction, you can go up to the Search Transactions button up here. And this will enable you to kind of go through and search transactions via certain parameters. So for example, if I wanted to search the transactions by some different things, maybe it would be the purchase order number, which is ultimately the invoice number in Successware. I can go ahead and enter in the invoice number right here. I can double check that the date range is correct. And then I go ahead and hit Submit. And all transactions with that invoice number will be right here in front of me. So I can see everything about that invoice number and ultimately double check that the card was, like I said, authorized, voided, authorized, captured. So that it's gone through and I can see the transactions here in front of me and be able to tell the customer what is going on with that transaction. Also be able to reconcile our credit cards. So that's how you search for transactions and view some transaction information right there.